U.S.-Israeli strikes continue to rain down on Iran on Sunday, 9 days into a conflict that has quickly spread throughout the region, dragging in the Gulf states as well as Lebanon and Iraq. Israeli warplanes struck 5 oil facilities in and around Tehran, killing at least 4 people, according to a state oil executive. Israeli troops also continued strikes and an ongoing ground offensive in Lebanon. Israel's military said Sunday that 2 of its soldiers were killed in combat in southern Lebanon, the first Israeli troops to have died since fighting flared with armed group Hezbollah. Meanwhile, Iran's Revolutionary Guard said they had enough supplies to continue their aerial drone and missile war over the Middle East for up to 6 months, and a barrage of missiles was again headed towards Israel on Sunday. At the same time, U.S. President Donald Trump has said that Iran's next supreme leader is not going to last long if Tehran does not get his approval first. Trump again refused to rule out sending American ground troops into Iran, but continued to insist that the war was all but won despite the ongoing missile and drone strikes.
Since the conflict began 8 days ago, the UAE has detected over 238 ballistic missiles, and it says it has intercepted 221. It tells us that 15 fell into the sea, and it says that 2 landed inside the country. We've also learned that 1,422 Iranian drones have been detected, 1,342 intercepted, and 8 cruise missiles have been shot down. Authorities say the attacks have also caused casualties, with 4 people killed and more than 100 injured, many of them foreign workers living here in the UAE. In a briefing with Euronews and a small group of international media, a very senior government official offered a rare insight into how the country is responding to these escalating attacks. He added that Iran's strategy appears to be to try and create regional havoc. The official said the priority now is to prevent the conflict from spreading further across the Gulf. We want to contain the war. We don't want this war to expand. He also warned of the political consequences that could last long after the fighting ends, creating what they describe as a huge trust gap with Iran that could last decades. This is Toby Gregory reporting for Euronews from Dubai.
Russia launched a large-scale overnight attack on Ukraine, firing 2 ballistic missiles and 117 drones across multiple regions. One strike hit a passenger train from Kyiv to Sumy with 200 people on board. No injuries have been reported. The attack comes amid a wave of Russian missile and drone strikes targeting Ukrainian energy and railway infrastructure. Also on Sunday, President Volodymyr Zelensky and Dutch Prime Minister Rob Jetten paid tribute to Ukraine's fallen soldiers and discussed providing radar systems to strengthen frontline defences. Meanwhile, Ukrainian drones struck an oil pipeline station in Russia's Krasnodar Krai region, causing a large fire and potentially disrupting regional fuel transport. In Belgorod Oblast, Ukrainian missile strikes on energy facilities triggered blackouts and disruptions to electricity, water and heating.
Crowds gathered in the streets across Europe on Sunday to mark International Women's Day with demands for ending inequality and gender-based violence. Women protested against violence, for better access to gender-specific healthcare, equal pay, and other issues in which they don't get the same treatment as men. This year, many are also raising awareness for women's rights issues in the context of a world increasingly afflicted by conflict. Protesters expressed solidarity with women affected by war in Ukraine, Iran, Gaza, and elsewhere. According to the United Nations, women in conflict-affected areas are disproportionately affected by gender-based violence. In Madrid, "No to War" and "Anti-Fascist Feminists Against Imperialist War" were among the slogans written on signs at the protests. Madrid also saw separate demonstrations for transgender rights and for the legalization and regulation of prostitution.